Imagine being 7 years old and knowing exactly how the world will end. Not in vague metaphors or religious symbolism, not in the abstract language of Revelation or the poetic visions of Nostradamus, but in dates, in names, in specific verifiable details that would take a century to unfold. Imagine carrying that knowledge in a child's mind, watching sunsets knowing exactly how many remain, looking at your parents, your siblings, your friends, and knowing the exact moment they will be gone. This is not fiction. This is the story of a boy who claimed to see the future, and the future he saw is us. The year is 1848. James K. Polk is president. The Mexican-American War is grinding toward its conclusion. Gold has just been discovered at Sutter's Mill in California, though the world doesn't know it yet. And in a small farming community in Pennsylvania, a child is about to change everything. His name was not recorded by history. We know him only by the initials he left behind, JF. Some accounts call him the German boy, though his family had been in America for generations. He was, by all accounts, unremarkable. A quiet child. A boy who helped with the harvest, who attended the one-room schoolhouse when chores permitted, who said his prayers at night like every other child on the frontier. And then, one night, he stopped sleeping. It began with dreams, vivid dreams that left him gasping for air, dreams of cities that touched the sky, of metal birds that rained fire, of voices that came from small boxes carried in people's pockets, dreams of war so terrible it turned the oceans red. His parents thought it was fever. They brought the local doctor, who bled him, as was the custom, and prescribed rest. But the dreams didn't stop. They intensified. And then, one morning at breakfast, the boy spoke. He looked at his father, a simple farmer who had never traveled more than 50 miles from his birthplace, and said, "Papa, in 77 years, a man will be shot in a city named for a lion, and the world will never be the same." His father set down his fork. "What did you say?" "His name begins with G.A. He will be the second to fall. The first will fall in the spring in a theater, but the second will matter more." The father, naturally, dismissed this. Children said strange things. They had imaginations. They played games. But then the boy told his mother about her brother, the uncle the boy had never met, who lived 3 states away, who the family hadn't heard from in months. The boy described the accident, a wagon, a broken wheel, a fall that shattered his uncle's leg. He described the infection, the fever, the death. 3 weeks later, a letter arrived. The uncle was dead, exactly as the boy had described. Word spread. In a community starved for wonder, a child who could see the unseen was both miracle and menace. Neighbors came to the farm asking questions. Preachers arrived searching for signs of possession. The local newspaper sent a reporter, a young man named Jeremiah Watts, whose name would otherwise have been lost to history, but for his decision to write down everything the boy said. It is Jeremiah's notebook that survives today. Yellowed pages, fragile as butterfly wings, housed in a university archive that doesn't know what it possesses. I have read them, I have held them, and I have not slept well since. The boy made predictions, dozens of them. Some were personal, illnesses, births, deaths within the community. Those, the notebook records with dates and names, and every single one came to pass within the boy's lifetime. But others were different. He spoke of a great fire that would consume a city by the water, a city with a name that meant brotherly love. He gave the year 1876. The city was Philadelphia. The year was 1876. The fire? History records it as the Great Fire of 1876. which destroyed hundreds of buildings and reshaped the city's landscape. The boy was 9 years old when he predicted it, 28 years before it happened. He spoke of a president who would be elected but never inaugurated, a man whose name would be remembered only by historians. The year, 1872. The man, Horace Greeley. He won the popular vote against Ulysses S. Grant. He died before the Electoral College could cast its ballots. The boy described Greeley's death, sadness in his mind, a broken spirit, with chilling accuracy. But these were small things, local things. The boy saved his greatest visions for last, and those Jeremiah Watts recorded with growing terror. He says there will be a war in heaven, not angels and demons, but machines that fly and fight above the clouds. He says it will happen in the time of his grandchildren. He says the sky will burn over a place called Pearl Harbor, 1941. The boy's grandchildren would have been in their 50s. He says there will be a mushroom. He draws it here in the margin, a crude sketch of a cloud rising from the earth. He says it will be a flower of death. He says it will bloom over 2 cities in a country called Japan. He says the year will be 1945. Jeremiah Watts stopped writing after that entry. When researchers found the notebook in the 1960s, they discovered several pages had been torn out, removed, presumably by Watts himself. What did they contain? What did the boy say that was too terrible to preserve? We don't know. But we know what happened to the boy. He died at age 14. The cause, according to family records, was brain fever, a catch-all term in the 19th century for what we might now call seizure disorders, encephalitis, or simply a mind overwhelmed by what it contained. His last words, spoken to his mother as she held his hand, were recorded in a family Bible that surfaced at auction in 1987. They're coming for me now. The ones from the end of time. They want to know why I told you. They want to know why I warned you. I told them someone had to know. Someone had to remember. His mother thought he was delirious. Perhaps he was. Perhaps it was fever dreams, the hallucinations of a dying brain. Or perhaps there are windows in time, moments when the membrane between what was, what is, and what will be grows thin enough for certain eyes to see through. Children are often the ones who see. Their minds aren't yet walled in by what they're supposed to believe. They haven't learned that certain things are impossible. The boy saw, and the boy spoke. And then, at 14, the seeing stopped. The speaking stopped, the boy stopped. But here's the question that keeps historians awake at night, that haunts the archives where Jeremiah Watts' notebook now sleeps. If the boy saw Pearl Harbor, if he saw Hiroshima, if he saw the wars and the fires and the assassinations, what else did he see? What predictions were on those torn-out pages? Did he see our present? Did he see you, sitting in your home, listening to this, searching for answers? Did he see the year 2026? Did he see tomorrow? Jeremiah Watts wrote, in the final entry before he destroyed the missing pages, a single sentence from the boy. A warning, a promise, a threat, depending on how you read it. The end doesn't come all at once. It comes one forgetting at a time. And when they forget the boy who warned them, that's when the door opens. The boy's grave is in Pennsylvania. No marker remains. The family farm is a shopping mall. Jeremiah Watts' descendants donated his papers to a university that doesn't publicize them, doesn't study them, doesn't want to know. But the notebook exists. I've seen it. I've touched it. And I can tell you this. The handwriting stops abruptly. The last dated entry is September 1852. The boy died in October. But on that last page, in a different ink, darker, more deliberate, someone else wrote something. A single line, added decades later, signed with initials that don't match anyone in the Watts family. He was right about everything until he wasn't, and that's the part that scares me most. What does it mean? What changed? Did the boys' predictions stop coming true? Or did they simply run out of time? The answer, like the boy himself, is buried somewhere we can't reach. What have you seen that you cannot explain? World Foretold. History whispers. We listen.